Transmit Podcast. I'm Spike.
Do I say my name?
Yes, you do.
Laura.
And?
His guest, Kevin.
Yes, well, today, obviously, you can tell I have some new guests. We're recording from the Tango del Rey. It's a show week, and we get a little busy, so I figured I'd come to the Tango del Rey and record some of our other stars. So I wanted to ask you, since we usually do show talk at the beginning of this podcast, how you got your start with Super Awesome Showdown, like how you met, how you developed your characters, maybe. So how about I start with you, Kevin?
Well, which character would you like me to talk about?
Well, I'm always a big fan of Soul. He's my favorite, like, heel here, really.
Okay. Well, Sol Invictus is known as a solar god in the Super Awesome Showdown universe. He actually started as a luchador character that I had started off as Conquistador del Oro. It's probably what the stage name was. I only got to use him once or twice before we decided to adapt him for this particular showdown.
Yeah.
And what's nice about him is his namesake is actually Latin for the unconquered sun.
That's pretty cool.
Which is great because
he
usually loses because he's a bad guy. So for me, it's a bit of a tickle.
It's always fun to watch him lose because he has this incredible amount of arrogance and just pride in who he is.
Yes, he has a hubris.
Yes.
He's the embodiment of all things bully.
And so I guess my next question is, how did you get... I know how I got my start. I just got invited by my buddy from high school here, but how did you learn about Super Awesome Showdown? How did you bridge the gap to wrestling with Super Awesome Showdown?
Well, 15 years ago, we started a Southwestern Alliance of Wrestling, or SAW, in a backyard. And this was a promotion through Mike Rapata that went around San Diego for a little while, almost 5 years off and on, doing schools, parades, and other good charitable events, such as Moose Lodges and Legion Halls. But after a while, we took a hiatus. Adulting, work life, school.
Obviously.
And when we got back, it took us about 3 years, we built a ring. And that ring became the Battle Grid. And then the Battle Grid, from 6 years ago to today, has evolved into a very powerful tool in our stories. So basically, I've been around for a very long time working with these gentlemen as best we can. And currently I help portray at least 3 different characters.
Okay, well, listen, I'm going to ask you about those, but first I want to move over to Laura here and ask, I know the answer to this, but for our audience, how did you meet up with Super Awesome Showdown?
Thank you for having me, by the way.
Thanks for being with us.
Out of my busy schedule.
Oh, yeah.
And heavy lifting. Appreciate that.
No problem.
She's a little swole.
Also, Kevin, your hubris is showing.
Let me get that.
Yeah, tuck that back in, please. This is a family show. So, but yeah, I know how, like I said, I know how you got here, but, basically someone I used to train with at P5 Academy, where I trained martial arts, I invited him out to the show, and he brought you.
Yes, I briefly dated that gentleman. He had moved here from the UK, or actually from Spain. He's originally from the UK.
Yeah.
To come spend some time in America for the first time.
Yeah.
And he took me on a date I didn't know what we were going to be doing, but he took me on a date to see Super Awesome Showdown. And about halfway through the show, I decided that with absolutely no wrestling experience or knowledge, that I wanted to be a part of the show.
And really, that's how this show kind of works out, is like, you'll learn, you know about wrestling, but you don't know about Super Awesome Showdown style wrestling, which is...
I didn't know about wrestling at all.
Well, I mean, even if you know about it, it's a different
feel.
feel.
I had maybe seen a couple characters throughout my life that were really blown up, but I'd never watched it. I had no history.
Same here. Kevin?
I just have a question. At what point during that show did you realize you wanted to join?
I think it was the minute that I saw Sol Invictus.
Clearly.
Oh, yes, obviously. I know, because, it's a way different feel, even if you have seen, like, professional wrestling, because we just have this interesting, grandiose storyline that really draws you in. And I understand, because my buddy Victor, he asked me to come out and help out with the show, and I knew immediately this was something special.
Yeah, definitely.
And so now I'd like to ask your character, your new one, Lucy Lux, right?
Yes, Lucy Lux.
How'd you come up with her?
It was a long process. It started as one thing. I was going to be this Cupid-like character, and it just fully evolved into a Lucifer-based character, hence the Lucy with an I. It's short for Lucifer. I am a face. I'm a good guy. trying to be a good guy.
That's all you can do is try.
She's not the best at it, I don't think, but she's trying. She's trying.
Obviously. Okay, so listen, I'm going to move back over to Kevin here. What character do you want to talk about next? You have a few of them, and they're all pretty fun.
Well, I guess it depends. Is this going to be airing during Galacticadia?
It's going to be airing next week, so after Galacticadia.
Okay, and that gives me a good reference point. So after Galacticadia, some of these characters are going to get some evolution and evolving. So let's talk about one that won't.
Okay, that's a good idea.
So Sol Invictus is more or less the character that's stagnantly the core bad guy, or almost jobber bad guy for the show.
Yeah.
And what's great about him is he's more or less just black tights with a little bit of gold. He's the embodiment or manifestation of the champion of the sun, which is pretty cool. He has solar character moves, like he takes people up and spins them around like some kind of gravity force.
Yeah.
Currently, he has in possession two of 6 different quasar crystals.
So he's got a fair amount of power.
He does. So not only does he have his own energy and strengths, he's borrowing galactic and or cosmic energies to help him win fights. Now, what's fun about the show in general and these different powers that all of us have is at no point is it mean that they automatically win.
Exactly.
There's always a story about coming up. And my favorites are the ones when you have these overpowering forces, but then there's the underdog showing up. Even a Lucy Lux and all her power can still have to deal with, a Vic Valentine or
just an actor guy has to deal with some and can almost win against somebody with like 2 quasar crystals.
Not just win, dominate.
Dominate.
Yeah.
Through just sheer determination and power.
Yeah, and that's the fun of it is we can set up a story where obviously these folks shouldn't win, but at the end of the day, you get to enjoy the climactic battles of how it happens and unfolds in the episodic details. Now, most of these things are cool because some of us have also different backgrounds. Like Sol Invictus was originally a luchador, so he would do luchador-style wrestling. Tradition now, he's doing a lot more strong style. So that's big hits, a little bit harder sales, and then 1 or 2 just big dynamic moves. And at no point does he try to go up to the top rope anymore.
Yeah, that's a little risky, it seems.
Yeah, it's a fun to tease, but no, some of us are just getting a little too old for all that.
Especially when you're wearing a dress.
Yeah, that only happened once.
Okay, so you also have Infectus.
Yes, so Infectus will be evolving, as he always is. I like to joke that this little character who's more or less all purple and green, he has a little bit of a cool little gray cowl, kind of a schmarmy little guy, tendrils in his face, very colorful. But he, this boneless character, literally has no bones.
Really? I didn't know that.
It's just a bunch of organs with air that keeps the structure together. Comes from some unknown place, has been scheming for the last year during the season 6.
Yeah, he reminds me of like Gollum, basically.
A little. He's got a little Gollum in him. He's got a little Stitch. He's just a troublemaker.
Yeah.
And recently he decided to interrupt one of our bigger heroes, Ryan Odyssey's match.
Yeah.
And he keeps invoking other people to help him somehow. Even the crowd, he gets to try to help him.
Even though he's kind of a weirdo.
Super weird.
Super weird.
Yeah, he feels awkward. It's I don't know. It just makes me even me, the performer, have chills sometimes at how gross he is.
Yeah, Lucy Lux had to teach him a little lesson about consent in her first match.
Yeah.
I remember that. That was it was very satisfying to watch
fun
that match. Yes.
Yeah. He luckily his nose didn't actually break, but it felt like it.
And then I had green and purple paint all over me after.
That actually isn't. It's a mucus that he.
Yeah, it's a
Okay,
lubricant
yeah.
that protects his flesh, is what it is.
Covered in crepe mucus.
Yeah.
Oh God, that sounds like an average day on the trolley here.
I didn't hate it.
Okay, well, I'd like to move back to you, Laura, for a second.
Sure.
Your first character was actually a cousin of one of our other characters. Can you talk about her for a
Yes,
minute?
Lorbo.
Yes.
Everybody likes
Who,
Lorbo.
you know what? I miss Lorbo.
Well,
Lorbo
you can
might
bring her
be
back.
making an appearance soon.
You can pitch, and
I loved Lorbo.
she was a ton of fun because Orbo is like I had to ref a few of his matches. He didn't know how to wrestle at first because he was like a bounty hunter. So basically, I had to have like way more attention paid to this match because I can't count if he's just pinning somebody's shins.
Yeah.
And he's like, count it off, and I'm like, no, you can't, and then you roll in and are automatically more competent.
Yeah.
And so you were his cousin,
I was
right?
his ugly cousin. Yeah.
This is accurate.
His
Yeah,
ugly
very accurate.
cousin Lorbo, and then there was a dumb cousin Jorbo. Let's not forget about Jorbo.
Oh, Jorbo got the
That
whole
came out
family.
for a little bit. That was only a couple. There was only a couple Jorbo appearances, I think. But yeah, Lorbo was also a space bounty hunter, and just
It's kind of like
total jerk.
It's kind of like the Dog the Bounty Hunter family. There's a whole group of just bounty hunters that, as a family, do this kind of gritty work.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I loved being a bad guy. And then there was Natasha Sanguinoff, which was my Vlad's army.
Yeah.
She was a space Romanian.
Space Romanian.
To be
yeah.
fair, I think at some point everybody has
For a
been a
little
space
while.
Romanian once
Yeah.
or twice.
She was.
We've also all been programs at some point.
I try not to admit to that.
She was, I think, actually my very first character.
And that's usually how we start people off if they're going to work on stage, is they're going to be like a part of someone's entourage.
Yeah. Get out there, take a couple bumps, just get used to
Catch
being in the ring a
somebody,
little
like,
bit.
I'm going to fall off the ring, and you just, like, with 3 other people, catch me.
Yeah.
It's a great way to start, and it looks like you're getting that call you were looking for.
Well,
So I'm going to
let's
shift.
see.
I'm going to shift back over to Kevin now. Let's see. Is there any other character you want to talk about? You had a couple at the Art Around Adams. You had an America guy.
Sure, there's always a default America guy. Gear was originally designed to be just basically American gladiator reject, but it always just turns into a good old country boy with American flag tights and then jeans or
Like
something like
you can
that.
picture, like he gets a call at his trailer park.
Yeah. Actually, a big winner at those kind of performance shows was just basically a Ken reject from Street Fighter.
Oh, nice.
We called him Red Warrior or some other generic name. But yeah, the full-on karate suit, red. I let my hair down, which I always regret because it just makes so many knots. But what's fun about that character is I actually have a background in karate. So
Right, I've seen that. Yeah.
So the fact that I get to utilize some of those skills in a pseudo fight scene is always enjoyable. But the trick to that one is doing a martial art gimmick in a wrestling match. You have to kind of talk about it ahead of time.
Right.
Because you don't actually want to hurt anybody.
Yeah,
So as long as you set up a spot where people know you're going to kick them in the head, then no one loses teeth.
Right, because it feels like, a lot of the wrestling moves are designed to be safe from
Yeah.
the ground up, and like any martial arts move is designed to be unsafe from the ground up unless you have that conversation first.
Right.
And it can look really good and really novel in a wrestling match.
And that's the idea. There's different styles of wrestling that incorporate knowledge that you will be kicking and punching a little harder or a certain distance. And communicating that ahead of time is definitely more boon to the other performer because they're your partner.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you're doing the best you can at both times. So doing those shows were always cool too because since we're not worried about a crowd, the crowd will, thousands of people can rotate every match
Yeah.
because they're just looky-loos. You can just do whatever you want and enjoy getting away with stuff you wouldn't normally do for live TV.
All right, and listen, I think I've mined enough material out of you for one show. I thank you guys for coming on. These are going to be short audience members because we're really busy in this show day, and we really want to give you some content. So I want to thank Kevin Burton for coming on to the show, and Laura Spiegel.
Oh, you do know my last name.
Of course I do.
You wrote it down.
Wow.
Yes, I wrote it. It's here on my
Oh
notes.
yeah, it's on your hand.
Can we not talk about what I write on my body?
Wow.
So listen, thank you for tuning in to the Transmit Podcast. I'm Spike,
I'm Laura.
And this is Kevin.
and we'll see you next time.
Later, heroes.
Bye guys.